Hey y'all, it's Chimdi. I'm back with another Ask Chimdi question. This one actually comes from the DMs. You can DM me at Coaching by Chimdi if you have any questions. So this is from Anna and she says, how do you deal with making mistakes and managing the conversation with clients afterwards? It's a problem that has come up more and more where I've made seemingly stupid mistakes. It would be the most complicated piece, but something small would get away from me, and now it's caused me to become incredibly unconfident and slow with my work. So thank you, Anna, for asking this question. And I'm gonna use this question to frame a mistake that I recently made, which I'm calling my $6,000 mistake. And if you have watched my videos, you know that your girl is in credit card debt. So she really can't be out here making $6,000 mistakes. That's exactly what happened. So the mistake I made is in investing in a coach that I wasn't perfectly aligned with. In the coaching industry and online, I think there are a lot of online service provider industries where there are a lot of people who sort of present themselves in a certain way. It's up to each of us to discern if that person is right for us. And unfortunately, a lot of us get taken by people who aren't actually a good fit, and then we end up feeling really frustrated and really disappointed. As someone who is a coach, I've had conversations with people where they say, I've tried coaching in the past and I felt like I was being scammed, which really sucks because I am the real deal. So it's like it's blocking people from their blessings if they've had the experience of trying once, being burnt, feeling like they made this terrible mistake. And of course, they're now more careful the next time when it comes to investing in support and investing in a coach. And for me, a big part of my healing journey is getting support and asking for help. I'm the kind of person who is used to doing things by themselves. I learned early and I learned often that if I just relied on myself to get things done, they would happen and they would move. And it wasn't always the case if I was looking for someone outside of me to really support me and to really help me. And I've been able to get pretty far and be pretty successful with that approach. But at a certain point, you can only make big impacts when you have a team of people, when you have a vision that's bigger than yourself. And so I was coming up against the point where for the life that I'm creating for myself, I need help and I need support and I can't do it alone. Also, I had Thomas Hubel from the Timeless Wisdom Training, which is a 2-year program I'm doing focused on healing trauma, also give me that direct feedback. Like, girl, you got your cute, sparkly, charming personality. We love it. We know you use it as a way to keep people at a distance, and the only way you're gonna have real impact is if you basically allow yourself to be loved. And I'm just like, I don't wanna. And so when I was looking for a coach to support me, I was very distracted by all of the numbers that people share when they're like, I helped this person get this amount of money, and all of these like flashy numbers. I was very swayed by that. So instead of sort of pausing and really feeling if there was alignment, I told myself, well, you need help, you need support. This is a way you can invest in yourself and get the support that you need, and that'll grow your business, it'll grow your impact, you'll be more successful, and it's worth the investment. And it was a $6,000 coaching container. And then I entered the container and I realized pretty early on, like, oh wait, this is not the container for me. And then I feel terrible because I realized, like, oh crap, not only have I signed a contract where I think I literally reached out yesterday to be like, could your girl get a refund? Because it's truly only been like a month. And I was beating myself up. Over this. And I recently was introduced to this framework called the 6 heart virtues. Often we talk about love and we don't really define it. And so the 6 heart virtues really breaks it down. The virtues are appreciation, compassion, forgiveness, humility, understanding, and valor. And the idea is that you should really be meditating on these virtues. That itself sort of opens them up in your heart, and then you'll find in life you'll be in different situations all throughout your day. When there's challenges that come up, it'll be an invitation for you to call on one of these virtues. So when I was having this experience, first of being in the container and realizing this wasn't aligned and feeling these feelings of frustration and anger well up inside of me, I was like, all right, Chimdi, which virtues can we pull in this moment? And so humility was a big one for me. Like, you are still not at the level in terms of your business that this person's at. So even if this isn't the container for you, you still have something to learn from them. So stay humble and try to learn from them. And then of course, compassion. I was like, you tried. Like, you didn't understand it wasn't right for you. Yes, you should have maybe spent some more time thinking about the decision, but that's okay. You did your best. And one thing I realized in talking to a friend was that she was talking about failure and how she spent so much of her life juggling all these plates in the air. It was only, or I guess spinning plates. It was only a matter of time before one of them dropped. But because it was like not until she was like in her 30s that she kind of had a major experience of collapse, she didn't really understand how to fail, right? And I know for me, as someone who isn't used to getting support, asking for help, it makes sense that I'm gonna make some attempts, I'm gonna reach out, I'm gonna try, and the people that I reach to won't be the right person for me, and I won't be supported the way I wanna be supported. And instead of making that about me or making that about the process of asking for help in the first place, I really should give myself compassion because I'm new at this. You know, I am grown and I'm new at asking for help, and like anything else, the more I practice it, the more I'll get better at it. So I want to offer that 6 heart virtues framework to you, Anna, but I also want to offer a video that I watched recently. It's called Self-Compassion as the Antidote to Shame. Me and Anna have been in the DMs, so I already sent her this video, but I'll include it in the description box for this one. And what it talks about, and I love it because it pulls in that heart virtue of compassion, but what it talks about is shame is a universal emotion. We've all experienced it. We all know what it feels like in our body. We all have experiences that bring us shame. But when we allow shame to be a constant beating of a drum inside of ourselves, so it doesn't even matter if we actually did something wrong, but we're beating ourselves up because of who we are, that's when we start to see that it like infects the rest of our life and makes it so that we create situations and circumstances to affirm that we are right to feel bad about ourselves. So when I was reading your question, what really came to mind is that if we believe something, we're gonna create a world that affirms it. So if on some deeper level you do believe that you're not a good person and you're not that smart and you shouldn't be trusted with these clients and you shouldn't be trusted to build your own business and you don't know what you're doing and failure is inevitable, all of these like thoughts and feelings that are tied to that sort of original shame, it's gonna manifest itself in these mistakes so that your brain can say, see, I was right. I was right that you shouldn't be trusted with this, that you can't handle this and you're gonna fail. So you should just fail now, you should just quit now. And what I would do is I would really remember, of course, watch the video, and also remember that every single person makes mistakes. We all know this. Like, we've heard that so many times. So we know this is true, that we all make mistakes, but sometimes it feels like, well, it's okay for other people to make mistakes, but it's not okay for me to make mistakes. And I was reflecting on this last night, on this feeling of like making mistakes. The biggest mistake and the earliest mistake I remember is actually the story of how I got this scar on my arm. I made a separate scar video on my YouTube years and years and years ago, and I since made up a follow-up video where I was talking about like things not being your fault. But I was reflecting on how I got this scar when I was 3 years old. My mom was like making something in a big old pot. I climbed up on a chair to like see inside. I was like, what's going on inside this pot? And I climbed up on a chair to see inside. I did not get a good view. And I remember this like so clearly because I always think, what if I hadn't gotten up there again? So I didn't get a good view. My brother wanted to see as well. So I get down, my brother gets on the chair, takes a look, he's satisfied, he goes on with his business. Me, in my unsatisfaction, was like, I didn't get a good look. So I get back on the chair, I put my head up, put a hand on it, bring the whole pot down on my body. So now I have, for life, 3rd-degree burns, and I got it when I was 3. So I literally, basically no memories before 3, because I don't know when we start forming memories. I have this really horrific memory of getting 3rd-degree burns. And all I remember is just the moment of pulling it down, and I don't remember anything else. So I don't have any memory of being rushed to the hospital. I don't have any memory of like getting care. I don't have any memory of the treatment. I don't have any memory of coming home. All of it is a blank. And what we know is when we have things, when we have like gaps in our memory like that, that is our body's intelligence telling us, you don't need to know. You don't need to remember. You cannot handle remembering this right now. So we're gonna lock this memory away. And when you have more capacity to process the intensity of that experience, we'll bring it back up. But right now, you can't handle it. So the fact that even after my year of trauma healing, I still have no recollections of it, that says to me that the amount of pain, overwhelm, fear, isolation, loneliness, just being so upset and mad at myself and oh no, I did this thing, must be so big that it is just mute. Because it can't be spoken right now because I don't have the capacity yet in my own body, in my own container to hold that. And that's a really early memory. 3 is a very early memory. We know in terms of childhood development, 0 to 5 are like those are key years. This memory is like a core memory, like through my entire life. And then also my physical body, I have this reminder as well. So it's very easy to say and to stay committed to these ideas of these mistakes and these ways, be like, if only I hadn't done that thing, how different my life would be. And I think that sometimes. But what I realize is, of course, everyone has some kind of mistake. It's not as if I hadn't made that mistake when I was 3, I wouldn't have made some other mistake, many years later, because I was a kid and that's what kids do. Sometimes I think that, oh, there's this perfect version of Chimdi who never makes any mistakes and everyone loves her and she's successful and all these things. And I realize like I am that version of Chimdi, and it's only in the process of making these mistakes and realizing like, oh, that's not the right path for me. Let me get back on the path. You know when you go on Google Maps and you're not sure what your orientation is, so you kind of like move the phone around to figure out like where the arrow is pointing. And sometimes you still can't figure it out. So you just have to start walking. And you just have to see where your dot on the map moves to like, okay, that's not the right direction. Let me go ahead and turn myself around. And sometimes I'll have that feeling of like, they're gonna see that I was walking in this direction, realize I made a mistake, and now I'm turning and walking back in the opposite direction. Like I don't wanna be embarrassed, and I don't want people to know that I don't know where I'm going. Obviously, no one ever really cares, and it's necessary, because if I didn't do that, I would have just stayed frozen and stuck in the exact same spot. And that is, I think, one of the worst places we can be. So I hope that's helpful to you, Anna. I already sent you that shame video, so I hope that resonates with you, and I hope this larger video in this context and this reminder that you are not the only one who's made a mistake. I have made mistakes, we've all made mistakes. Some of them haunt us to this very day, and that's just the nature of being alive. And if you didn't want to be alive, we wouldn't be here. Thank you so much for the question. If you have a question, you can DM me or you can leave a comment below. Thank you to the Patreon people. Y'all support means so much, and I really, really appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.